Well, good morning, guys and gals. This is me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and
Andrew Larry, the tablet man.
wait.
Yeehaw!
Where is he?
I'm right here.
Oh, there he is.
I'm right here.
Okay, and if you look down there carefully, you will see that I have my valve covers put on. See that? Yep, they're all bolted in. And I have my intake manifold gaskets laid in there. And I'm going to do a dry fit on the manifold before I put the sealer, because this doesn't use a gasket on the ends of the valley. It uses a sealer. Let me show you what comes. These are Velcro gaskets, and it uses black RTV silicone. Okay, so but I'm going to do a dry fit before I put this in. That way, if I find any issues, I'll be able to deal with it. So hold on to your hats. I'm going to back you out, and I'm going to bring the manifold over, and we're going to set her in place. Okay. Here we go, our first test fitting of our intake manifold. And it looks to me like it's going to fit right down in there just dandy. And we'll get the manifold on. The next thing we'll do is drop the distributor down into place. How do you like them apples? So here we go. I'll bring you back after I get the manifold in for the final time. Okay folks, we'll bring you back when I finish bolting it down. We're going to have to torque it down. I see what was holding it. Because of the way the intake manifold gasket is, it holds the manifold up a little bit until you start cranking it down, and the oil pressure sending unit stands up kind of high in the back there, and it's actually catching on the intake manifold back there. We'll bring you back.
We'll bring you back.
Okay folks, the intake is all in and bolted down. And now we are going to attempt to install the distributor. And you will recall, now this is a test, you will recall when I pulled the old one out, we had it set so that it was pointing straight forward, right? And I did tell you that I would need to rotate this back just a little bit so that when it drops down in there, it goes down in and ends up coming straight forward, because you can see the heel cup gear on the bottom of the distributor. So let's see what's going to happen here. And that's a little more over that way than straight forward, but that may have to be the way it is. Let me pull it up and try going back one tooth and see what happens. I think that's going to be too far. Yeah, it won't go down in there because it also has to go into the oil pump on the bottom. And this is not a huge issue for this because I can move this distributor, which I could not do with the other one. So a half a tooth off is not an issue. So I'm going to bolt this down temporarily, and we'll put our cap on there. And the next time I bring you back, I now have to work at cleaning my carburetor before we put it on. And So I think we're gonna stop this here. We've got to a good point to stop at. And I'm gonna finish bolting the distributor down. I do have a clamp for it. You always have to have a little bit of chrome bling, you know, when you're putting your motor together. And this distributor did not come with a clamp with it. The original distributor, the clamp was made right onto the distributor. Well, look at that chrome bling, huh? Woo! Wow. Gotta love it. And it slides down in underneath and gets bolted down. Okay, guys and gals, we just have the carburetor sitting on there. We have the cap back on the distributor, and just checking for clearance, and I was concerned about that, but we got plenty of hood clearance. One of the next things I'm going to have to do is install my spark plug wires. And as I was thinking it might be a problem, my heater hose here, this should be going back that direction. So I'm going to have to cut this on my bandsaw, rotate it, and re-weld it. So that would take care of that. And if you, because I'm replacing the fuel injection, I need a throttle position sensor to make my transmission shift properly. This has an electronically controlled transmission, and so I have this kit. Let me see if I can open it up. I'm not going to bother at the moment. But I have this kit anyway that actually goes on in place of and works with the electric choke. So I get my throttle position out of that. And that should help with my shifting issue with the transmission. And then the other part of the wiring that I have to deal with now is sourcing a wire for the coil, i.e. the distributor, which is back here. And all that has to be is a switched 12 volt, one that gets power once the ignition is turned on. And Mr. Kevin, who is here with me now, he pointed out and he said, is that going to be a problem back there with your heater hoses? And I said, well, as long as I keep the distributor turned this way, but who knows where the distributor is going to end up being turned. But I think we can make it work anyway. So yeah, we're getting there. I'm going to put the air conditioning pump back on. And I'm going to have to redo some of this wiring. I think some of this wiring in here is going to get repurposed. And so follow along, because this is where it really gets technical. As far as I'm concerned, we've done the easy part. Now comes the hard part. Getting the wiring set up and making everything function, because the computer up to this point has controlled everything, including your fuel. And we have a fuel pressure regulator coming that will mount up on the firewall back there. And it has a return on it. It'll probably be right in the area behind the distributor, somewhere in there. And there's our computer, which will still function to use for other parts of the truck. So hold on to your hats. And until next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, saying thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing,
And
thumbs up, and sharing,
of all the good things.
all them good things. And that's
Tablet
the
man.
tablet man, and there's the big dog over there. Give us a woof woof.
Woof woof.
Yeah, that ain't much of a big dog, woof. He's doing well. And I have been working on this while the weather has been too cold to work at his place. And but hopefully in the next couple of days we'll be back at his place. We have doors to put on the back of his shop, and we have benches to make inside, and we have lighting to finish put up, and more finished wiring to do. So there's lots ahead. Hang on. Thanks again for watching. Yeah, you'll have to forgive the shaky cam. You can see I have cut my gooseneck off, and now I need to mark it so that it will point in the right direction. If you're doing a Vortec V6, even a Vortec V8, I guess, and you're going to use your original gooseneck, you're going to have to do this. And what I have done, you can see right down in there, I've already got a mark with a marker pen after I cut it off with my bandsaw. So the next thing to do is take it down and weld it. And hopefully I can get it so it's watertight. That's the big issue, of course. Making sure that I don't have any pinholes in my welds. Onward and upward. Well, you can see I've got my gooseneck here, and I'm going to have to set up to weld it. But before I can do that, I need to finish putting my carburetor back together. I took both float bowls off, front and back, and it's pretty clean inside, actually. As you can see there. But this gasket is not functioning properly, and that's going to cause me some grief, I'm afraid. So I guess I'm going to have to get a rebuild kit whether I want to or not. The other issue is that my accelerator pump is very, very stiff. And I have put some oil on it to try and loosen it up a little bit, but I'm not so sure that that's going to work. You can see it still doesn't want to flex very well, and it should be easy flex. So I have the bolts in the parts cleaner, and this is just an addition to the rest of it because this isn't really part of the conversion, except that when I put the float bowls back on here, I'm going to be showing you how to do the adapter for the throttle position sensor so that your transmission will shift properly. That's if you have the electronic control shifter, which is all the later model, and I think that starts with like 2000 and after have the electronic shifter. So and I'll get the actual information and put that in here with it. Bye for now. Say
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye. Say bye, Kevin.
Take care.